Dozens of people are searching for a missing hiker in the gorge.
21-year-old Riley Zickel set out on an overnight hike by himself.
Colorado County Sheriff's Office is searching for a missing hiker on the Olympic Peninsula.
John and Trevor Higgins, the father and son, were last seen Friday. They disappeared while hunting near Bear Camp Road above Agnes.
21-year-old Riley Zickel, the senior at Lewis and Clark College, disappeared.
An emotional plea from friends of a woman who is missing right now in the Skamania County wilderness. She's 19 years old, Maureen Kelly.
Searchers are looking for a 76-year-old farmer who did not come back from mushroom hunting near Grangeville.
Hello and welcome to the Pacific Northwest Missing Persons Project. I'm your host Tanner Hoskins, Executive Director here at Pacific Northwest Missing Persons Project, better known as PNW MPP, and the co-founder at Pacific Northwest Bigfoot Search. First things first, I want to wish all of our listeners, supporters, and donors a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from all of us here at PNW MPP and PNW Bigfoot Search. We wouldn't be where we are today without all of your support in our mission to raise awareness and bring answers to countless grieving families. Our team here at PNW MPP have been hard at work planning our upcoming search and recovery operations, which are scheduled to start in April of 2025. We will be conducting operations in search of Don Parkins along the Molalla River Recreation Area, Robert Bissell, who vanished near Shell Rock Lake in the Mount Hood Wilderness, and a missing persons case out of Lane County, Oregon, that we are not ready to share any details about due to a very high risk to our team's life safety. We also have other cases that we are hoping to look into, but we require additional funding to make it happen. As tax season approaches and the holidays wind down, please consider donating to our team here at PNW MPP. Whether it's $5 or $5,000, your generosity provides us an opportunity to search for clues in an attempt to bring closure to countless families of the missing. Pacific Northwest Bigfoot Search is also working hard this time of year. We're spending a lot of hours in the forests of the Oregon Coast Range and as high up into the Cascade Mountains of Oregon and Washington that weather and road conditions will allow. It's been a while since we've spent any amount of time in the Oregon Coast Range, but since the last time we were in the area, additional information has come in from archery hunters, rifle hunters, and fishermen who claimed to have experienced something strange north of Grand Ronde, Oregon, all the way up to the Columbia River. Our work truly is never ending. Footage of the trips that we are taking during the winter months will be available on our YouTube channel, PNW Bigfoot Search, as early as January 15th. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss our boots on the ground operations. With that being said, let's get into this week's episode. This week's episode focuses on two missing person cases from an area described as the Bermuda Triangle of Utah's mountains. The area in question is along the Mirror Lake Highway, and the cases are that of Melvin G. Heaps and Garrett Bardsley. The Mirror Lake Highway has seen a strange amount of people going missing in the area. This location is one of the strangest areas I've read about in regards to just how many people have disappeared seemingly without a trace in the region. The first case is that of Melvin Heaps, a 74-year-old male from Mesa, Arizona, went for a hike in the area of Crystal Lake in the Uinta Mountains in north-central Utah on July 31st of 2017. Melvin had hiked the area multiple times over the years and loved being outdoors, especially in the beautiful state of Utah. Melvin usually only went on short hikes, about 2 miles in and 2 miles out. It was a rarity for him to go much further than that, which makes this case even stranger. Melvin is described as an adult male, standing at about 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing roughly 180 pounds, with gray hair and blue eyes. Melvin was not expecting to be out overnight, and because he didn't plan to be out too long, he did not have any overnight gear with him. Instead, Melvin was carrying what he was wearing, a straw hat with a brown band, a long-sleeved red or rust-colored shirt with beige stripes. I believe it was size 15.5 or size 16. Blue jeans with a zipper fly in the size 38-30. They were either Wrangler or Faded Glory brand jeans. Melvin also wore clip-on elastic suspenders, a one-piece Mormon temple undergarment, thick multicolored socks, and size 9.5 hiking boots. Melvin also likely had an analog wristwatch with a brown leather band. On top of that, a few other accessories that he should have been carrying with him include a white handkerchief, a brown leather wallet, and a Toyota car key with a key fob, along with his chapstick. Melvin did not have a lot of health issues despite his age. He was relatively fit and in pretty good shape for being a 74-year-old. The only thing that was listed as a disability or a handicap in any way was that he was deaf in his left ear and hard of hearing in his right ear, which he wore a hearing aid for. This section of the Uinta Mountains is usually drier than it was in July of 2017. Unlike most summers, the summer of 2017 still had a lot of snowpack remaining on the mountain peaks, which reach above 13,000 foot elevation. And at the time that Melvin departed for his hike, the lakes, creeks, streams, and rivers were dumping water, and the lakes were higher than they'd usually be, making for incredibly lush vegetation, beautiful views, and all-around stunning hiking environment. This area is made up of diverse terrain with ample wilderness, a lot of flowing water, and large boulder fields surrounded by very thick timber. When the Summit County Search and Rescue Team deployed to the area, they had a mix of citizen volunteers and various law enforcement agencies assisting them. Over 100 searchers at times took part in the search effort for Melvin. The Summit County Search and Rescue Team deploys to roughly 130 search and rescue missions every single year and have a track record of immense success in their operations. Throughout their history, only 2 individuals have gone unaccounted for in this area, including Melvin Heap. The other individual that remains missing is Garrett Bardsley, which I will be talking about later on in this episode. From what I've read and the research I've done, search and rescue teams did not focus a lot of their efforts in the area of Ramona Lake or Fire Lake. This was decided due to the difficulty of the terrain to reach those areas at the time that Melvin vanished. This information was provided to me by an official search and rescue map I was able to obtain through a credible source with first-hand knowledge of search efforts. My source wants to remain anonymous, and therefore I will respect their wishes. Search and rescue teams, along with citizen volunteers, scoured the terrain for over a week, hoping to locate Melvin, or at least bring closure to his family. But as the days progressed and no sign of Melvin was located, hopes began to fade. Helicopters, ground searchers, horses, canines, and other statewide agencies, including the Utah Department of Public Safety, assisted in the search, but no sign of Melvin was ever located. For the amount of ground that was covered by searchers and the incredible track record the SAR team has, it's mind-blowing that nothing of Melvin's was ever located. If you'd like to support the Summit County Search and Rescue Team, you can do so by donating to the Garrett Bardsley Foundation by utilizing the link below in the sources on this story's podcast description. The second case is that of Garrett Bardsley, a 12-year-old Boy Scout that stood at about 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 115 pounds with brown shoulder-length hair, hazel eyes, and was last seen wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, red sweatpants, an unknown color t-shirt, and size 8 Converse shoes. Garrett Bardsley was from Elk Ridge, Utah, near Provo, Utah, and vanished around 9 or 10 a.m. on August 20th of 2004. Garrett was on a church camping trip with other Boy Scouts from Garrett's troop. Garrett had been fishing with his father, Kevin Bardsley, since about 8 a.m. on August 20th at an unnamed lake in a group of 6 lakes, with Cuberant Lake being the largest of the 6. This is located in the Uinta Mountains of Summit County, Utah. While fishing, Garrett fell or stepped into the lake, becoming soaked from the waist down, and headed back to the campsite early to change his clothes. Camp was a very short distance away, about a quarter mile from the lake, on a well-maintained path. This path connects to a roadway another quarter mile away from the campground and should not have been a challenge for Garrett to find his way. But early on in the investigation, Kevin advised law enforcement that he had kept an eye on Garrett as Garrett traversed the lake towards camp. He noticed that Garrett had missed the trail leading back to the campground, and he yelled out and pointed in the correct direction and watched as Garrett backtracked onto the correct trail. Kevin stated that he continued fishing for about 20 minutes or so before he began his own walk back to camp. During this walk, he had thought that he heard someone yell out, "Dad," from a distance, but after stopping and looking around, he did not notice anyone who may be attempting to get his attention. So, Kevin continued his walk back to camp. Once Kevin arrived at camp, he quickly realized that Garrett was missing and none of the other scouts had seen Garrett. More than 200 searchers, made up of professionals from all around the state of Utah, immediately deployed to the area and began their search efforts that lasted well into the early morning hours of August 21st. That's when temperatures at the high-altitude lake plummeted to nearly 18 degrees. During the 9-day search and rescue effort, only one item of Garrett's was ever located: a single Nike sock. The sock was located along a granite boulder field about a half mile from where Garrett was last seen. The boulder field has a very clear view of the unnamed lake that Garrett was fishing at. A 3-mile radius from Cuberant Lake was searched thoroughly, and to this day, no other sign of Garrett has ever been located, including the fishing pole that he was carrying. What would cause Garrett to continue hiking up a treacherous boulder field if he could see the lake behind him? Did Garrett, after getting onto the correct trail, somehow wander off the well-established trail and become lost? Was Garrett abducted? Was he a victim of predation from a mountain lion, bear, or other predator in the area? According to law enforcement, no signs of an animal attack nor any evidence of an abduction were present at the scene. This is a very, very strange case. So, what are your thoughts on the cases discussed in this week's episode? Share your thoughts in the comments section of our YouTube channel. Please keep them appropriate and respectful, as families of the missing often tune into our podcast. If you have something to share that you might not want a family to read, you can email us directly at info@pnwmpp.org. And, as always, if you plan to recreate in the great outdoors of the Pacific Northwest and beyond, please check out the interactive map on our website at www.pnwmpp.org. The map is available directly on our homepage. No sign-up required. You never know when you may stumble across something that brings answers and closure to a grieving family. Thank you.